It's beyond my comprehension that you could send your son to work and he not come home.
My name's Andrew Anthony, and at the time of the incident, I was working in corporate safety.
At the time of this incident, I was the safety advisor for the upstream facilities for Production North.
It was clear to me that Cameron was extremely well liked and a popular member of the rig crew. And his father would talk about a lot about his life, how he followed him in industry, how he was well liked, but more so how he loved being a driller.
It was just before midday, and I was about to do a phone hookup with the corporate HSC team when one of my colleagues, Scott Urquhart, who was a team leader at Fairview at the time, he came into the room and he said, "There's been an incident." So we made a phone call, and he said, yeah, there'd been an incident on Fairview 272.
There were 5 drill racks that had to be placed on the back of the tray. 3 were sitting upright, and an additional 2 were inverted and placed on top. The first issue was that the 3 sitting on the tray were too wide for the truck, and that didn't allow the installation of stanchions. So these are standard hard barriers that are put on trucks to provide an extra line of defence or an extra barrier. During loading, the bottom layer of drill racks were put in place and secured appropriately. The 2 on top were placed and secured separately. Unfortunately, what happened is both restraints were removed at the same time, which made the load able to move under its own force. The top 2 were pushing down due to gravity. Because they were slightly wider, they were pushing out, and 1 drill rack fell off to the side. Cameron was the driller, and unfortunately was close to the load in what we would have called the exclusion zone, with his back to the load, and was unaware of anything happening behind him.
I have a paramedic background, so instinctively, you know when you hear the people's voice that something's actually wrong. And then I said to Scott, I think we should head that way.
I recall one significant update, which was Cameron being placed in an ambulance that had arrived from a local town. And when we heard that, it actually gave us great hope that Cameron would be okay.
When we arrived, the guys were getting the stretcher in. The paramedic was there trying to get some intravenous access. He was still talking. I took control of his head, as you know, paramedics do. And then, we rolled him and got him onto the stretcher, and then just as we were about to load him into the ambulance, that's when it all ended. And we started resuscitation.
And I remember looking around at my colleagues who had come together to provide some support, and we all just sort of dropped our heads for a wee moment and just reflected on the gravity of what had happened, that we had lost someone that was working in our business for us, helping us, supporting us, and we'd lost someone on our watch, which certainly hurt us all.
The thing with Cameron is it's in the industry, and it's, you think of it as part of your family or whatever, So the impact for anyone that was involved in that incident, was horrific.
This incident was a classic line of fire type of incident. A line of fire incident has the 3 elements to it. It has equipment, it has people, and it has energy. None of this is about paperwork. This is really about conversations and relationships and communications between people. Luez, whilst there's a specific piece around an exclusion zone, it is really about the intimacy of the conversations between people loading or unloading. And in addition, the theme of step back, which we have in our industry, again, isn't about tick the box, and it's really just a personal act to take a moment to think about what you're going to do before you do it.
The Cameron legacy for me is that, and I promised Cameron's father that I would continue talking to people around, don't be distracted in your workplace. Make sure that you have the fortitude to stand up and have a conversation when it doesn't seem right. For me, the coroner's inquest was traumatic. The day that I was in the stand, Cameron's father, Graham, was there.
Each person that sat in the witness stand, if you call it that, was given the opportunity to address the family. And I remember breaking down, trying to express both personal, company, industry sorrow for the loss of Cameron, who clearly was a great guy. And I think I remember just saying that Cameron will never be forgotten.
The enduring thing for me out of this is Cameron has a bridge named after it. I will bet you Cameron's father and mother didn't send him to work to come home and have a bloody bridge named after it. That's how I think about it.